Welcome to Rock, Paper, Hand Grenades. I'm Representative Gary Hopper, and this is Josh Solomon.
Yeah,
Josh.
You've gone and done it, Gary.
What?
We don't know where this is going. You've gone and invited somebody on the show that you've never met.
I don't have any idea.
We have no idea what we're getting into.
We have no idea.
We're going to be canceled.
I have no idea what she does or why she does it, but...
Just willing to, you want to be on my show? Come on my show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly what I did.
You don't even get permission. You're supposed to get permission, aren't you?
I didn't remember that. If I did, I would have forgotten anyway.
Probably.
Yeah. Probably. So anyway, I was last week. I was invited to is it Women's Illuminated?
Mothers Illuminated.
Mamas Illuminated, and I said that's pretty interesting. And then I looked, and we didn't have anybody for this week. I said, hey, maybe they'd like to come on. And then I have no idea what you do. I don't even know what your name is or what the group is. But it just sounded cool. Because in my mind, if you say Mothers Illuminated, I'm thinking about a bunch of moms with little kids, and there's lights beaming on you, and there's diodes. You have diodes in your hair. And no, it's not that, is it?
I mean, metaphorically, kind of.
Anyway, what's your name?
So I'm Michelle McCartney, and I do a podcast called Mothers Illuminated, and the whole concept is just anything surrounding motherhood. So it's actually a very new podcast. I've only got 5 different episodes out.
Yeah.
But essentially the idea is we just have different guests that are experts in different fields, and they talk about something that's related to motherhood, raising children, or even just being a woman in society.
That's actually pretty cool. So why did you want to do this?
So I'm a mom. I have a 2-year-old.
I guessed that.
I have a 2-year-old, and I actually just delivered our second daughter 3 weeks ago.
Wow.
And I mean, both of them were very different experiences, and they were just, once you become a mom, you're not the same person.
No.
And every single time you go through pregnancy and childbirth, you're a completely different person again. And
so you're saying you have multiple personalities?
Yeah, you shift and grow.
Yeah.
But really, the biggest thing is how much being a mom has impacted me. And so I see that across the board whenever you talk to moms. It's just being a mom is the most important thing, and there's so many different facets to being a mom. There's finding your new identity, there's how to raise children, all the different research that goes into it. It's I remember when I was pregnant with my first daughter, I spent weeks upon weeks researching, what's the safest crib, what's the
Yeah.
It's completely ridiculous, but at the same time, when you're a mom, there's that much stuff that needs to be looked into.
Thought of, yeah.
And so when I talk to different moms, I'm a part of a lot of different moms groups, and some of the same issues always come up. It's what do you guys do for this, or what how would you approach this kind of an issue? And, that's really what moms are looking for, is just some sort of help
Answers.
and advice.
Yeah,
because there's so many things to look at. And so.
So what do you concentrate on your podcasts?
It could be all different kinds of things. So I have on there a nutritionist who kind of talks about, some of the tips that you can do for picky eaters, because that's a big thing that comes up a lot. The most recent podcast I did was actually a really interesting one. It was
you just sit them in front of a plate of broccoli until they eat it.
I mean, you could try that, but
right.
more realistically.
That's how we were raised. I couldn't leave the table till those vegetables were gone.
I know. It was they were cruel. I still have post-traumatic stress from that. So
still can't look at broccoli.
So there was that video I saw the other day. It was, because you'll appreciate this, it was I think 2 or 3 year old, and the mother said the kid wanted to eat the apple, and the mom said, no, that's an onion. And the kid says, apple. She said, no, it's an onion. So finally she says, okay, whatever, have it. And you see the kid sitting there biting the apple. His eyes are watering, and he's He's biting the onions. I think getting all watery, and it's you can tell it's painful.
Yeah.
But he's 3 years old, and it doesn't matter
Yeah.
Because he's going to, and he keeps eating it.
So, so my 2-year-old actually had a moment like that recently, because she'll eat anything under the sun. Like, she loves food. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't have the picky eater problem. But I was chopping some onions and she wanted some. And I said, no, you don't want those. Trust me, they're not, it's raw onion. And she was like, no, I want them. And she started throwing a tantrum. I said, you know what, fine. You want some onion, have some onion. And I handed her some and she ate it. And she's like, made this this face like, what did you just give me, Mom?
Why did you? So there you go. See, now her trust issue, right? So now she's like, how can I trust this woman?
You set the standard for the next 18 years.
Yeah, yeah.
That, right?
I mean, I don't think you can go through parenthood without traumatizing your children, just a little.
No, well, that's actually the fun part. So the my buddy, he had a son that was so stubborn that he would ask for something or want to do something or refuse to do something, and my buddy would insist, and the kid would actually hold his breath until he passed out.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, this is very, very stubborn. He would actually drop, and finally, my buddy took his kid to the doctor and asked the doctor, what do we do?
Yeah.
I mean, he's actually passing out instead of doing what he's supposed to.
Yeah.
And the doctor says, that's not going to kill him. He just as soon as he'll start breathing as soon as he passes out. So they're little kids can be
oh yes,
pretty awesome and very extremely challenging.
So you were talking about your most recent podcast and its subject.
So the most recent one we did, I had a woman on who owns a hippotherapy clinic. So she does
Why would you hypnotize hippos?
So I actually didn't know what it was either until I talked to her. But hippotherapy is
there's not a lot of hippos in New Hampshire, so it seems kind of like a
and they're supposed to be incredibly dangerous, but you
know. There's that too.
But hippotherapy is actually the use of horses for therapy. So she's an occupational therapist, and she helps autistic children.
Why is it called hippo?
Hippo is like the Greek term or the Latin term or whatever.
There's a place like that right up here in Goffstown.
Yeah, there's one in Goffstown. I can't remember exactly where hers is located, but it's Play and Prosper, New Hampshire is the name of her company. But
Where's she?
It was really cool. I'm sorry?
Where is she?
I'm trying to remember. I can't remember exactly where she's located, but she uses a couple different locations because she doesn't actually own her own horses.
Oh.
So she uses some other locations to do.
Does she steal them? That'd be cool.
She doesn't use her own. She steals horses from strangers.
Come on, kids.
Be quiet. We had all those horses on the loose in Goffstown a couple weeks ago.
Now you know why. Now you know why.
Every time she's got a client, she
That'd
just
be
shows
awesome,
up,
though.
growls them into her
Picture
cart.
like sneaking towards a horse, and she got this little row of children back of her.
So the hippotherapy is for autistic children?
Yeah, so autistic children, children with sensory disorders, all different types of stuff. And honestly, I was really fascinated to do the podcast with her because there were so many benefits that I had no idea about. And so, one of the things that she was telling me was she had this one client who was a young girl who had some sort of a rare condition with her heart.
Yeah.
And so the situation was she wasn't going to live past a certain age because of this condition with her heart. Well, she also had sensory issues, and so she was there getting treated for sensory issues. One of an amazing benefit that happens is part of the movement of the horse actually helps your internal organs regulate. And she ended up completely reversing her heart condition, and now she's the longest living person with that condition.
From one ride or multiple?
Well, multiple. I mean, it took,
So she had to steal a lot of horses.
So
that's actually
basically,
really cool.
It means you're on the horse, and the horse is just shaking. Right. It's the legal way of shaking your baby.
Oh, baby shaking made legal.
And it has the opposite effect. It actually helps them.
Right.
Oh, so you're not supposed to shake. So we're not telling you to shake babies here, folks. I guess I don't know. I took it wrong.
I will say when I had my first daughter.
Well, before we get much further, how do people get in touch with you if they want to see your podcast or get involved in Illuminating Mamas?
Yeah. So I'm on YouTube. You can look up Mothers Illuminated. Podcast.mothersilluminated.com will also get you to check everything out.
You got a Facebook page, because that's how
Facebook
I know
page, yes.
about you.
And then I also, you can email me, which is mothersilluminated@gmail.com. So that's a great way to just reach out to me and get in contact.
Well, you're
So-
assuming that we know how to spell illuminated.
ILLUMINATED.
Wow, she is good. We don't usually have people that educated on the show. So, oh gosh, I had something good too. So that's basically the part, the crux or the intent of the podcast and the YouTube is to try to start having people like that on and try to broach subjects about mothers and little kids that other people might not. And
Yeah, I mean, really just broach subjects that are helpful to other moms. So, I mean, like I said, there's a lot of moms out there who have lots of different questions. And, especially when it comes to having autistic children or children with sensory disorders, that's like a whole nother ball game in itself.
Oh, yeah,
Mothering is hard enough. When you've got, children that have additional needs, it's really challenging. And so just having a wide variety of different, people on. I mean, we had a woman who's an MMA person. And so she kind of talked about self-defense for mothers and, exercising, all that kind of stuff, which was really cool. We actually had a state rep on.
Before I forget, not this week, but the week after, Women's Defense League has a training course for women.
Do they?
Yeah.
That kind of stuff is so important, I think.
You
It's
might want
so
to might do a podcast about that. They're really
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
because they're doing that, I think, probably at Londonderry, but I don't remember.
Okay.
They've been doing most of their stuff at Londonderry
Yeah.
recently. Yeah.
But yeah, Women Defense League does that, and having them on, they're really nice people too.
Yeah, I'll definitely reach out to them.
Yeah.
'Cause I think that's so important, self-defense. I mean, who's more defenseless than someone with a bunch of small children?
Oh, absolutely,
It's,
absolutely. I have firmly believed, and I kid around a lot about a lot of stuff, but not this one, is that if on the news you tuned into Channel 9 and a man shot 5 times in the groin was on the news instead of woman abducted at the park, a lot less women would be attacked at the park.
Right.
Right? You
Yeah.
know?
Oh, yeah.
So I think because you don't need all women to have a gun, right? All you need is a high enough percentage where perpetrators are going to say, maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not that drunk.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's an empowering thing, right?
Yeah.
You need to empower women to be able to defend what's most precious to them, right? It's like pissing off a mama bear, right?
Yeah.
A mama grizzly, right?
Right.
That's the one thing you don't want to do. Everybody knows not to do that,
Yeah.
right? So we want human moms to
Right,
be looked at
yeah.
in the same manner. They got
Yeah.
a gaggle of kids around them. You stay the heck away from them.
Or
Yeah.
die.
Right.
Yeah.
There was a news story that I had heard about a year ago or so, and it was this man had jumped into the car. The woman had parked to get gas, stepped out. Some guy hopped into the driver's seat, started taking off. Her 2 kids were in the back seat. She hopped into the into the passenger seat while he was driving away, took out her gun and basically said, "Pull over," and he refused to, so she just shot him. And it's like, I mean, obviously that's horrible, but that's a heck of a lot better than our kids getting abducted and who knows what happening to them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
we see that a lot. We see people will carjack or steal a car that's running in the parking lot of a convenience store, and they get down the road, and if all of a sudden a baby in the back seat starts crying,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We need to have a deterrent to that. And,
Do you guys do anything at Wilson Hill?
We do lots of different self-defense classes. So we have.
But it's not
It's not just
gender
firearms.
specific.
And we do sometimes have gender specific. We have
So you have 6.
Cindy is our female instructor, and we do obviously firearms instruction, but we also do pepper spray instruction, and we also do situational awareness instruction. So it's not, you don't actually have to get physical, but just situational awareness itself, you know, is a class that can take several hours just to clue you into things that you don't really notice walking down the street.
Yeah.
That could be issues for you. Right?
You know, I think
people don't realize that criminals, they spend their entire lives trying to figure out how to get the jump on you, how to surprise you, how to sneak around the corner, how to start a conversation that seems innocent, right? Just to get your attention focused on something else.
Yeah.
So that you're not focused. And it's those types of things, situational awareness. Again, we encourage pepper spray. We have pepper spray classes. So wilsonhillpistol.org, you can check the training schedule. And we do have a meeting tonight, 7 p.m., 1732
Some Road.
Lakeshore Road, 1732 Lakeshore Road. I don't know why, I forget. Been going there 20 years. I don't know the address.
So I got to tell you, situational awareness. So this is how good I am at that. I'm walking. We actually had time to have lunch at the State House today, which is we've been like working right through.
Yeah.
For the first time I've gone out for lunch. I'm walking back from lunch to the State House, and I noticed my hand is really, really cold. Why is my hand so cold? I was carrying a soda with ice in it.
Oh my God.
and I couldn't figure out, man, the hand's it's not that cold out.
It might be less situational awareness and more, getting on in years.
No, I've always been like that. Anyway, so what other podcasts have you done so far?
So I've done those. I did have a state rep on.
Oh, yeah, you don't want
recently, those. No, she's amazing. It was
one?
Melissa Blasek.
Oh, have we had her on? No, I'm going to have her on.
I was going to say, you should have her on.
I should have. I want to have her and Leah Cushman on together.
Cushman.
I love Leah. I love that lady.
No, we didn't have Leah on yet.
No, Leah's in my town.
Yeah.
And she's just a wonderful person. She's just so
she's
nice.
So dedicated and so
driven, I know.
Which is just amazing.
Yeah.
Like just the passion for helping all of those types of policies. I mean, so I actually ran for state rep.
You did? Which town?
Well. It was District 15 in Concord. It's literally the second hardest district to win because I ran as Republican. To run as Republican.
You're one of those.
To run as a Republican. So
which is the one that Lynn Blankenbecker won? Is it not that one?
Oh, no, it's near there, though, because she lives close to me.
Yeah.
She's not that far from where I am.
Yeah, because she won one, but it was really hard for her to get in.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it's supposed to be the second hardest is what they said. So I did not win, but I mean, quite frankly, I just had a child and I've got 1,000 other things going on. So
that
was
a blessing. Yeah.
So you can give up the $100 a year.
And the license plate that you have to pay for.
Yeah, the license. I just finally
out of your $100.
Out of the $100, yeah. Yeah, no, the 2 sets of license plates cost you $18.
Isn't that ridiculous?
So for the first year, you get your $200, and then they take taxes out, and then you have to pay for the license plates.
You get taxed on pay that came out of my taxes?
Correct.
Nice.
You should be proud of that.
Nice.
But anyway, so you had Melissa on. What'd you talk about?
Well, we talked about mostly legislation that affects families. So, and I know she talked a little bit about kind of the, what's it called, Rebuild now? Is Rebuild New Hampshire instead of Reopen New Hampshire?
Oh, they changed it? I know,
because
I remember
rebranded it a little bit.
Rebranded it, yeah. But
a lot of it was really just talking about like upcoming legislation that was going to get proposed and kind of things that families can look forward to because, the typical legislation stuff that tends to affect, a lot of families.
Right.
Right now I think the big one is, medical freedom stuff is kind of
the
crazy, but and some of the state of emergency stuff people are keeping an eye on. So
yeah, because right now we killed a bill the other day that I think you'll like. We killed it in committee. It's still got to go to the full house. Did we kill it in committee? I know we killed
If
it.
you killed it in committee, how is it going to the full house?
It goes anyway.
So you didn't kill it.
No,
You recommended against it in committee.
we recommended that it die, and that's and it should be exactly.
When it's tabled and retained in committee, then it's dead.
No.
Don't tell me you killed
No,
it.
no,
if it's
no,
going
no,
to the
no,
full
no.
house.
That's not how it works. You don't table anything in committee. Oh, God. See what I got to put up with. You know, I make $100 a year, and I got to put up with him too. So anyway, the bill was now I freaking forgot. What was it? What were we talking about?
You're killing a bill, but
Killing
didn't
a
really kill it.
bill about.
I gotta stop that. I get right in the middle of his train of thought.
And the
Anybody
train
out there knows what Gary was thinking about?
train-
Please call.
the train stopped so easily too.
And you just got off.
I know. Well, I just got on, and then it stopped, and now I don't remember where it was.
We were
headed.
talking about medical freedom and state of emergencies.
Medical
and-
freedom. That was it. It was something to do with that.
Yeah.
Gosh, I don't know. Come back to me someday.
Yeah.
Probably next week. Anyway, sorry. Go
No,
ahead.
you're fine. So that's mostly what the conversation was about. So we just talked about some of the upcoming legislation. She was kind of just letting us know, how all those were working. What moms can kind of like look forward to and what to expect in terms of what's going to be proposed.
Yeah.
So that was most of the conversation, but I love Melissa.
Yeah, I do too. She's wicked fun. The first meeting was in a parking lot at UNH.
Yeah.
Right, and I don't like driving that far, especially because I thought we were going to come home at night, and so Leah gave me a ride. And we picked up Melissa,
Oh,
so
yeah.
it's all three of us in the car,
Oh yeah.
and it was just it was a riot.
Social distancing.
Yeah, we were
but
social
all together
distancing in
one
the car, but it was funny because we were like in the third parking lot, like way in the back in the corner in the dark,
Yeah.
and you had to vote with the Wi-Fi buttons.
Where'd
Right?
you get the buttons?
They handed them out when you went in. So we had the buttons because each button had to be designated to you,
Okay.
right? So they know you're voting on this, right? And
Then you all dropped them in the car. Oh, which one was mine?
no, we didn't do that. So anyway, I don't know if Melissa had the same problem, but Leah and I did. Our buttons weren't great, so we would like press the button to yes or no,
Yeah.
and it wouldn't hit. So we'd have to like get out and wave the button around till we got. It was very, very ridiculous. It was very ridiculous. It was super silly.
Oh my gosh. Well, I've been hearing about how a lot of the voting has been kind of crazy these last few days.
Oh yeah.
People walking out in the middle of things and.
Yes. Well, we have one of the legislators from Manchester on our committee. We were discussing we're just discussing marijuana, and one of the things that if we do pass legalize marijuana in any way, the one thing I'm really worried about is to your point, little kids. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you're at home and you or your husband leaves a bag of pot in the middle of the kitchen, okay, a 2-year-old is not going to look at that and say, "Wow, I'd like to eat that," right? Because you can't get them to eat broccoli, much less eat some green
Something
stuff that
strange
smells
green.
like crap.
Yeah.
Well, it smells really bad too. So it's not going to be enticing, okay? But if you had a thing of gummy bears that were laced with, that are infused with tetrahydrocannabinol, THC, which is the stuff that gets you high, those, just a few gummy bears are like smoking a 2 or 3 joints, right? So you take a 2-year-old and they eat a handful or a bunch of gummy bears, they're in the ER because they're freaking baked. Some little kids in Colorado ended up in a coma. That was state senator in Colorado told me that.
And it's something that we hear about all the time.
So
kids getting into stuff like that, kids getting into the brownies, bringing them to school, bringing the gummies to school and passing them out.
Yeah.
You hear about it all the time. I mean, it doesn't.
Yeah.
It really doesn't matter how much you try to lock it down. It's going to happen.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think if you are going to legalize it, then there also needs to be something backing it up, a penalty for what happens if you let this into the wrong hands.
Right.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm not going to mention her by name, but a state legislator in Manchester is on my committee.
I can do it. I'll mention it.
And
I'll do it for you.
and she got mad because I was talking about the edibles, and she's frustrated because she's talking about medical marijuana edibles, which do come in a, I guess, child-proof cap bottle.
Yeah.
But that's not the same when we start legalizing stuff.
Exactly.
As soon as we legalize it, the places are going to sell whatever they want. So anyway, so she got frustrated apparently and went on camera during a hearing, pulled out her bottle of medical marijuana gummies, I suppose they were,
Yeah.
and then just to stick a knife and turn it, she opened the bottle up and ate a few. So she's getting high while we're legislating. She's getting
It's a criminal
stoned.
justice committee, no less.
It's a criminal justice. She's committing a federal crime on camera,
Yeah.
Right.
and it's just like,
Legal in New Hampshire or not, it's still a federal crime.
yes. Now I'm ridiculous. I say ridiculous things in the committee. Okay, so
Yeah.
I get my share of attentions. I said, what did I say today? I got my chairman mad at me.
You got Daryl mad at you?
I got Daryl mad at
He's
me.
such a nice guy.
Oh
too.
yeah, he was not happy with me again because we were talking about there was a victim, a child that's been trafficked, right?
Yeah.
It was a bill to make sure that they had access to the Victim Relief Fund, right? And because but the committee didn't know where the money comes from. Where do we get this pot of money for people to apply for? And so no, that's not what I said. That probably would have been okay. No, I said that we should. It seems like a simple thing to fund. You take the perpetrators that are trafficking 12-year-old little girls, and you sell their organs.
I got no problem with that.
I got no problem. I'm not saying kill them. No, I'm not. I wouldn't. I'm not.
They got two lungs.
They have
got
two
two
lungs.
kidneys.
They got two eyes.
They got two eyes.
Just
The liver can be chopped up.
yeah.
Yeah, there's all kinds of things.
I
We can
just-
make
I
lots
don't
of money
understand.
trafficking these people.
Right. If they're going to traffic in little kids,
We can
why don't we traffic in their
kidneys.
organs? It seems fair. Anyway, you didn't think that was.
Daryl didn't like that.
I
huh?
didn't like that. I'm trying to think outside the box. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to come up with other ideas, and they just crush.
We can fund all these
Creativity.
unfunded mandates.
We could, right?
I don't have a problem with it.
I don't either. I mean, the Chinese do it, so it's got to be good. I'm a little bit warped. I'm sorry. A little bit, just this much. So anyway,
Well, so you went off on a tangent there.
I did.
Yeah.
Wow.
But if
That's
it makes
not-
you feel any better, I'm pretty sure all mothers around the world would agree with you.
I don't think so. No, we have. I got to get her back on. We have. What's her name? Pollock. What's her first name? Darlene Pollock. Come on, once in a while.
I don't know her.
Oh gosh, you got to get her on your show.
Okay, what does she do?
I have a list of humans that I just that I absolutely admire. Mm-hmm. Okay, now as a legislator, I meet a lot of people that are very wealthy. I don't care. Mm-hmm. I could care less. If they drive a nice car, well, that's nice, good for them.
Yeah.
I do not care. Darlene Pollock is like, I feel like I'm not worthy to be in the same planet with her.
Aw.
Because she was trafficked as a little kid, right? And her pimp told her to get an abortion, or he was going to kill her. And she was, I think, like by this time was 15 or I don't remember. I shouldn't say because I don't remember. Very young, and believed him. But before she was supposed to go for the abortion, she had a dream of what that was, what the abortion really would be.
Yeah.
And so she lied to him and said she got it and then ran away.
Wow.
Right? Now, a child like that going through what she went through, I mean, she had, police officers, judges, and all that stuff abusing her, right? She's just a little kid,
Yeah.
right? They could probably spare organs. Anyway, so she goes from that. She gets help, and it was actually a state agency, so not all state agencies are horrible. But she got, accepted Christ, right? And I'm butchering her story, but basically over time, she was able to let go of all that horror. And became a nurse. She's a mom.
Wow.
She's like one of the kindest, gentlest, nicest people I know. And she should be in a corner going
Yeah.
on meds, right? That would be a reasonable conclusion.
Yeah.
But she's not. And so that impresses me. That's the type, it's somebody that has been totally destroyed by life.
Yeah.
Beyond her control. There's nothing in that story that was her fault. And to be rebuilt through Christ and God and is just, it's like the most beautiful thing I know of.
Yeah.
Is a human like that. It's I don't know.
I have to meet her.
You absolutely have to meet her. She's absolutely beautiful. I had her on my show. The first time I had her on my show, I didn't remember. I didn't know. I'd heard part of her story, and I forget which part. It wasn't that big a part. So she sits down. I said, "Oh, you had an interesting life." And she just looked at me, dumbfounded. Goes, "Well, I don't think I'd put it that way."
Oh my gosh.
Gary tends to do that.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know. So anyway, after she told me, I felt like about this big.
Oh
but,
no.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not the first time I put my foot in my mouth. So
That's
anyway, so what other podcasts are you doing?
Well, so I did just film. Will be coming out pretty soon, but I just did a session with a hypnotherapist.
Okay.
So that was pretty interesting.
What now? How does
that guy, the R-rated therapist at the Palace Theater? I've seen him. That's crazy stuff.
Different
I
type of
don't
hypnotherapy,
Not
but
the same.
Why is everything hypno with you? What is
well,
this?
hippo and then hypno.
Oh, okay.
But she was
I
interesting.
think
So
she's got an obsession there. I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, that's fine. And then I had a couple on who own a yoga studio up in Concord. So we kind of talked about like yoga, prenatal yoga, and all that kind of stuff.
Prenatal yoga? The little kids have to do yoga? Wow. That just seems...
But you can have...
Get them doing
seems
yoga inside the womb.
I know,
They're
that
starting
seems...
earlier and earlier now. All the sports moms. I tell you.
Well, I'll tell you right now, you ever look at an ultrasound, those kids are definitely doing yoga
Oh,
in
I
the
know.
womb.
You know, they did I don't remember, this was a long time ago. I'm sure they did an experiment where they took this, like, athlete,
Yeah.
and they put them next to, like, I think a little baby or somewhere, like, probably 6 months old or something like that.
Yeah.
And the athlete had to do all the motions of the baby, and they couldn't keep up.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Oh, yeah. My 2-year-old has me beat, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
And then the newborns, they like sleep in all sorts of weird positions, and you're like, are you dying? Like, how do you sleep like that?
Yeah.
I'd be like breaking my neck doing that.
Oh yeah,
but,
they're pretty flexible little critters. Yeah.
Well, it's funny because
So what is the yoga?
Yep.
Why is yoga different for? Is this yoga for women who are pregnant or after they've had the baby?
Yeah, so prenatal yoga is for women who are
prenatal
pregnant.
would be.
And then, I mean, there are like yoga things that you can do afterwards, but typically you have to wait a while after you've given birth before you can start doing stuff like that.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, prenatal yoga is supposed to be, have a lot of great benefits. It helps prepare the body for the birthing process, helps make postpartum much quicker and easier to deal with. And it helps just keeping stamina and mindfulness and just stuff like that throughout pregnancy, because pregnancy itself is challenging.
It is.
So, it kind of helps you maintain that physical aptitude throughout,
Do you guys, do you ever have like a podcast about, for women, how to deal with their husbands who have no freaking clue what they're going through? Because I used to come home, I remember when Brenda was pregnant with my oldest.
Yeah.
And I'd come home and she's like crying. And it's like, because I'm a guy. So I said, oh shit, I don't think I did anything wrong. I'm not sure. Maybe I did something.
Yeah.
But I didn't understand
that
it had nothing to do with me. It's just the hormones.
The hormones are just crazy.
Yeah.
I remember when I was pregnant with my first daughter, for like the entire third trimester, I had horrible cravings for chocolate glazed donuts.
That's not a horrible craving.
It was just, every single day. And I'm telling you, like, cravings, I would wake up in the morning and start crying because I didn't have a donut in front of me. Like, that's the kind of craving. There's nothing like a pregnancy craving.
Really?
It's insane. So, to go back to that, your wife literally could have been crying about anything.
Yes,
because
I figured that out.
That's kind of what pregnancy does to you.
Yeah. Is there any connection between the craving and something that the body actually needs, or is it just...
possibly. So, like, a lot of times, for me at least, in the first trimester, I tend to crave a lot of steak. Steak is high in iron, and obviously your body needs iron because you're about to triple your blood supply.
Right.
So,
triple your blood supply? What do you mean triple your blood? That seems...
So, the amount of blood that your body has at the end of pregnancy is 3 times the amount of blood that your body has when you go into pregnancy.
Really?
You literally create that much more blood. Yes.
Oh, that's gross.
Yeah. So the body goes through lots of changes.
Little buggers, ain't they?
Yes. Very, very needy. Yes.
Yeah. So that makes sense. So anything with iron, stuff like that. What about you figure out the donuts?
No, I think that's just, my kid loves to eat even now. So I think that's just, she loved to eat in the womb, loves to eat now. Nothing's changed.
That's really actually pretty cool. What other stuff do you do? Podcasts have you done?
So those are generally all the ones that I've done as of now.
What are you gonna do?
But I have a bunch in the pipeline. So I am trying to find, if there's anybody out there who wants to be on the show, they can contact me at mothersilluminated@gmail.com. And I'd love to find somebody to talk about like finances, family finances, because that's a huge thing that comes up a lot. There's a lot of women who, try to figure out how can I make some extra money on the side, or how can I save money, how can I budget, because that family finances tend to be an issue that comes up a lot.
Yeah.
And then I'd also love to find somebody to come on as like a marriage counselor, and that someone that can kind of just talk about
exactly
being
what
a
you
mom.
were just talking about.
Kind of, actually, yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
Because, when you're pregnant, your needs are very different, and that can be a strain on a relationship.
While you're pregnant, don't yell at your husband for nothing.
Repeatedly.
Yes. My husband always likes to tease me that, we'd like to have more kids, but then at the same time, does he really want to deal with a pregnant me again?
Yes, yeah.
I'm like, yeah, fair enough.
It's a reasonable question.
But, there's that. And then, when you have kids, obviously everything changes too, and it makes things a little bit harder. And so that was somebody that I wanted to have on the show. But I've got a bunch of people lined up that are interested. And, of course, now that I'm trying to think of it, I can't think of which ones off the top of my head.
I feel your pain.
But
no, because the thing is that there's a lot of issues there. The marriage counseling is huge. Because I'll tell you something that is probably I've said this before, and I've actually offended people by it. That your child would actually do better if you measure going to college, doing well in school, and doing well in life, a child will do better if your husband dies on the way to work than if you two get divorced. It is huge. It is absolutely amazing how much little kid, because your daughter does not look at you as just you. Your daughter sees mom and dad as a unit, right?
Yeah.
And she needs him. Little girls need dad especially because they need to know that they're appreciated and loved and get the affection from dad so that when they become 15, they're not looking to some dirtbag for that affection that they never got.
Yeah.
Right? Little boys need that authority figure. I'll give you an example. Little boys, when they get around 14 or 15, they get bigger than mom.
Yeah.
Right? They're physically stronger and bigger and more intimidating than their own mother.
Yeah.
And often they've got all this chemicals running through their little bodies, all this testosterone, and they're becoming aggressive, right? And they need dad to grab them by the back of the neck and say, no, that's not okay.
Yeah.
Right? They have to have that influence.
Yeah.
So children that are, getting marriage counseling, do whatever you have to do.
Yeah.
Because you staying married is like, in other words, if you were to save up, people save up for their kids' college.
Yeah.
Staying married is far more important than saving up for college.
Yeah.
You can stay poor your whole lives and stay married, and that will do more for their future than any money you possibly could have saved.
Yeah.
So back to what you were saying originally, if like you said, if the dad dies on the way to work or whatnot, that child never experienced a broken home. They never experienced the fighting, the disrespect, all of those things that.
Well, also, dad didn't abandon them.
Exactly.
He died.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I said, they didn't experience a broken home.
Right.
Right. It was a loss.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a broken home, and I think that's the key to what you're talking
about.
Well,
Well, the other variable, I think, is if dad dies on the way to work, a little boy especially, his image of what dad is what he will want to be.
Yeah.
Right? And if you break up from your husband and refer to him as the a-hole for the next 10 years, he wants to grow up to be an a-hole. But if dad dies on the way to work, dad was a good guy, he was working hard, I loved him very much, your father was a wonderful person. He wants to grow up to be a wonderful person.
Yeah.
So it's so that marriage counseling variable is really, really important.
Yeah. Well,
It's a really good idea.
And that's why I wanted to have somebody like that on the show, is because, statistically speaking, like you said, that's one of the biggest variables is to determine a success of a child.
Right.
Is whether or not their parents are still together.
Yep.
And I'm a Christian as well, and so I think that's
you're one of those
hugely
too.
important.
She's a Republican and a Christian, and we had her on the show anyway. That's why I should have been more careful.
To me, that's kind of like, you should stick it out, and it doesn't matter if you might be disappointed in certain areas. You got to work on it together and figure it out.
Yeah.
When you decide to get married, that's not just a shallow thing. And I think society right now has determined that marriage is something that can very easily
transient.
just get broken up, and then you find someone better, and I don't need no man, and it's like that's completely ridiculous.
Yeah,
because when you have kids, you do need a man. Like, that's kind of how they come here.
Yeah, you need both.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I got a pastor friend who said it really, really good. He said that Satan works really, really hard to encourage a young couple to sleep with each other, right, before they're married. Once they're married, he works really, really hard at keeping them apart, right? Because that's what happens a lot, especially when kids are involved. All of a sudden, they become distant, and the kids take up so much time that marriage counseling and getting guidance through that it's a difficult time.
Yeah.
You know, it is not easy having little kids or kids and staying married. The easy way out is to say, "Oh, I'm done."
Yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah.
But
So, you know, and like I said, I just think it's a shame that that's where we're at, you know, in the world. So I think to have, you know, those types of people on the show, and that's really what the show's about, is just making, you know, the lives of mothers easier. And so if I can have a marriage counselor come on and say, hey, look, you know, when your husband's doing this, this, and this, it's not for whatever reasons you think, it's actually because of this. Or, you know, maybe these are things that you can try to do to put the spark back in, or, you know, whatever the common issues tend to be.
That's why
mothers are experiencing.
Mothers Illuminated.
Yes.
The spark. That's what that's all about.
Well, the idea is to eliminate the path of motherhood.
With like little LED lights.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Because it's you know, it's a big journey. Motherhood is.
Now, how much are you gonna have like pastors and stuff like that on too?
Yeah, I'd like to. Like I said, I mean, the podcast is like a month old. I mean, it's still very, very new. Right. So at this point, it's really just a lot of building those relationships, having people come on, and
what church you go to? Do you go to church?
Yeah. So we used to go to the Raymond Baptist Church.
Yeah.
But then with all the COVID things, they had shut down for a long time, and then they reopened. But then it was like no singing, masks only. That
no
kind of
singing.
Thing. Yeah, and so I kind of didn't go back because I was like, that's kind of silly. So we're in the middle of churches trying to find one that fits.
What town do you live in?
Our family. We live in Concord.
Well, yeah, that's right. You already told me that.
Where do you record your podcast? Do you have a home studio, or do you have a studio you go
I actually have a studio in Londonderry. So I use the co-work of Londonderry. A friend of mine owns the business. And so he has a space there, and one of the rooms is a podcast room.
Co-working spaces?
Yes.
Yep, I got you.
So he has.
What's a co-working space?
So for folks like me, where my company doesn't have a brick and mortar building and I work from home,
right?
If I'm getting tired of sitting in my office and not seeing anybody, I can go to a co-working space, which is it's like an office building, but anybody can go there and spend some time, connect to the internet, and it's an office. They got a kitchen, they got bathrooms, and you've got other people that you can work with. They may do something completely different, but it's like renting office space temporarily.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. You don't have to own the office space, but you can co-work there, and it just kind of changes up your day a little bit.
Yeah. So he has like a membership fee, so you pay like a membership fee, and you can go in, and he has a podcast room. He's got conference rooms. He's got rooms that you can rent to like host events in. You know, he's got like a bunch of pressing, like basically to make decals and to make shirts and stuff like that. So you can use that equipment.
You can?
Yeah. He's got a ton of stuff there.
You can print all kinds of propaganda.
Well, he even has his own printing company. I'll have to get you in touch.
He does?
Yes, Strike Fear is the name of his printing company, and so he makes all these stickers and shirts.
Because a lady from church wanted the Unborn Lives Matter. Mm-hmm. And I had to go online. Like
that won't trigger anybody.
That won't trigger anybody. She wants to put out in front of her house, so.
Well, isn't it sad that that's something that would trigger someone?
It is. It absolutely is something that will trigger people. How dare you?
I just had a baby 3 weeks ago, and to think that, 4 weeks ago her life wouldn't matter.
Exactly.
It's insane.
You kidding me?
It's absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we did pass that, by the way.
I was curious about that. How did that?
We did pass a bill through the House.
So still got to go to the Senate and the governor.
Still got to go to the Senate and the governor that eliminates abortion after 24 weeks.
Oh, okay.
So we've doubled it, but we still got 12 weeks to go.
Still got a few more hurdles to get through, but that was good.
Better than nothing,
It is a lot better.
It was 12, right? It used to be 12.
No, there's no limit at all.
I was going to say New Hampshire didn't have any limit. You could do it up until like the end, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that was when people. I was on the show back when New York was celebrating the fact that you could kill their children up until the time of birth.
Yeah.
And they actually lit up buildings in the center of New York City. They were so happy about this, and people were being outraged And I says, you do understand that's already legal in New Hampshire.
Yeah.
And people go, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, cotton picking, lootly.
And then there was the, I think there was also was it the Born Alive bill that was going through too?
What the heck is that?
One of the next.
That's me, sorry.
Yep.
Huh. I thought it was the ringing in my head again. Yeah. Well, the voices,
might still be there, too.
the voices sometimes are pretty obnoxious, you know. No, when I was a teenager, I had those voices in my head, you know.
You still have them in your head.
Get a job, stuff like that. It was terrible, terrible.
Be an asset to society.
No, they didn't go that far. So anyway, so you're going to do that. And, a church. If you want to try out our church, it's pretty great.
Yeah, so which one do
We
you go
opened
to?
up really quickly. I think we took a couple of weeks off and did it online, just because at the beginning of COVID, people didn't really know how bad it really was.
Yeah.
So he opened up church actually really quickly. It's a congregational church in the center of Goffstown. We allow singing and everything.
Nice.
It's pretty
And you can
crazy.
stand next to each other?
No.
Okay.
Okay, so what it is, they have he's trying to stay within the governor's guidelines, and
Gotcha.
and it's like, because we also have a lot of older people that probably watch too much TV.
Yeah.
So we have it sectioned off, so like you have one pew, and then they'll skip a pew, and then another pew, and
Okay.
you know what I mean. So it's kind of
That's not too bad.
it's kind of socially distanced, but not
Not
really,
really.
not really. It looks good on paper.
Yeah.
But I still hug people.
Speaking of the
Which is
governor's
probably against the
guidelines,
law.
Wasn't there something before the House about ending emergency?
Yeah, well, I tried that one at the beginning with, actually it was,
No, I thought something was either coming up or had just come up.
Melissa was
For
the one that did
Yeah,
that.
she was the one that.
Did the motion, I made the motion to pass the resolution, and she did a parliamentary inquiry. But
I thought there was another one that came up this week, but maybe I'm wrong.
there was something that came out, so it's all garbage.
It's all a blur to you, huh?
It is, oh yeah, absolutely.
And you didn't even take any gummies.
I know. I can't imagine. How bad.
Well, she misspoke like 3 times after that.
Oh yeah, after she caught a
And when the
buzz.
bill came up to vote, she changed her vote twice because she didn't understand what she was voting on.
Well, if you know,
Isn't she the perfect spokesperson for that?
This is why you keep it out of the hands of politicians.
That's too funny.
well, what's actually really funny is I don't know how, if there's a conflict when she votes, because she's in criminal justice,
Yeah.
and she's going to be voting on firearm policy,
Yeah.
right? So I don't know if she's federally prohibited from owning a firearm, whether she can rationally vote on a firearm bill.
Yeah.
Well,
Right, 'cause
she's
she
got
can't-
medical marijuana, so she is federally prohibited.
She's
Whether
federally-
she declares it or not, she is federally a prohibited person and cannot be in control of firearms. So if she can't be in control of a firearm, how can she be in control of legislation about firearms?
Right. It'd be nice if she was in control of herself when we have legislation.
Well,
Of course, I'm not
obviously
much
gonna
better,
happen.
and I'm not high, so. Anyway, thank you very much, young lady. Before we finish, tell people who you are and how to get in touch with you.
Yeah, so I am Mothers Illuminated. That's the podcast, and you can reach me at mothersilluminated@gmail.com. I also do want to mention real quick, I also own a bookkeeping business. It's called McCartney Bookkeeping. So if there's any small business owners out there looking for bookkeeping, you can find that at mccartneybookkeeping.com.
You mean like taking care of people's like
Books.
Finances.
books, like
She's a
no,
librarian.
finances.
She's
Finances.
a librarian, dude.
That's what I thought. She comes in and
I come in and organize the bookshelf.
You want that fancy bookshelf behind you during your Zoom meetings during COVID?
Right.
She will rearrange them for you.
So they're in alphabetical order.
Exactly. Make them look fancy.
Or make sure that they're really cool books, like, Tolkien and stuff like that, are still in, and put the stupid ones right in back of you, so nobody sees them.
Just to
McCartney
make it clear,
bookkeeping.
if there's anybody who would pay me to organize books, I mean, I'm willing to do that.
She's a multitasker. Look at that. She will organize your books and your finances.
That is
At the
not
same
out
time.
of the realm of what I can do.
Hey, thank you very much, young lady.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on the show.
You realize what a risk this was. She could have been.
I could have been crazy, guys.
You should have been. She could have been totally off the wall.
Whether she is or isn't crazy is still up for grabs. But it was an okay show. It was a good show.
It was a good show.
It was a really good show.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
you.
All right, we'll see you guys next week.